Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Freelancers Tea Break, the short and sweet podcast you can enjoy whilst you're making a cuppa. My name's Emma Cossey. I am a coach and mentor for freelancers based in the UK. I'm also ADHD, which means sometimes I am very much, well, no, all the time, I'm interest motivated rather than importance motivated. And I think that ties in today's topic a little bit. So today I wanted to talk to you about what to do when you've lost motivation in your freelance business. Now, a quick this is for those who have ADHD, you're either going to be very familiar with this concept or you may be new to your diagnosis and just learning about that. For those that don't have ADHD, this might be really interesting for you to know when you're working with other people who do. People with ADHD are interest motivated, we're not importance motivated. So, um, if I have a task in front of me that I need to do, it's very important. The thing that always pops up in my mind as an example of this is at my accounts. Knowing that it is important for me to do it is not going to generate motivation for me. I need to generate dopamine to get motivated to do it. And in order for me to generate dopamine, as someone with ADHD who does not have a lot of dopamine, I need to make it interesting. So I'm interest motivated rather than importance motivated, which is probably why if you have someone in your life or you are someone with ADHD, you'll find that they can be intensely hyper focused when there's something that they're interested in. But when there's something that you consider to be important that they need to get done, they cannot get motivated to do it. But I want to talk about generally motivation as a freelancer as well, because I know a lot of people are struggling at the moment. It is a bit harder at the moment. Plus, it's the summer, which, if you're someone that is solar powered, you're probably loving it and maybe don't want to be at your desk very much. Or if you're someone like me who hates summer and cannot wait for autumn, motivation is very hard to come by at the moment. So, let's talk a little bit about what you can do if you feel like your motivation is sort of taking a drop at the moment. So, the number one thing that you need to do is identify what's missing at the moment, what's not allowing you to be motivated. So, are you completely overloaded? So, at the moment, I'm actually recording this in July, just near the end where schools are about to finish, and I am totally overloaded by various things that we have to go into at school. Also, being aware that I need to take time off in August, so I need to tie up lots of loose ends. I'm very much overstimulated and overloaded at the moment. So, it's sometimes working out, are you overloaded? And that's why you're struggling to get motivated. But on the flip side as well, if I don't have enough things to do, I can be understimulated. And that leads to boredom, which then makes it very hard to get motivated. So you can be overloaded or underloaded. And actually, sometimes identifying which of those things you are and what you need more of can be really helpful. So for me, I I realised, first of all, I need to assess what actually is important for me to stick at the moment. What boundaries can kind of slip, or not boundaries, standards. So at the moment, I don't care if the house is a bit of a mess. I can sort that in the summer holidays. Um, we are going through a lot of convenience food at the moment because we're in and out of the house so much off at the moment. So those are the kind of standards that are kind of slipping, and that's fine because that makes everything else a bit easier. However, if I was the other side and I didn't have enough to keep my brain going at the moment, it would be creativity. I'm definitely feeling like at the moment, and I'm going to talk about this in a podcast in a couple of weeks actually, about AI and creativity and how it's kind of robbing us of it a little bit because it's making everything easier, but then we lose that creativity spark. And I'm missing some of that, but it's that kind of balance at the moment of my plate is very full. Once the summer holidays start, I can dip more into creativity, top up my cup of kind of creativity, um, and feel a bit more kind of happy with that. This was a very roundabout way of saying, are you overloaded? Are you potentially getting towards burnout? Or is it the flip side that there's not enough going on and you're bored, and then it's very hard then to get motivated to do that? It's a very tricky line to tread. The next thing is it might be worth looking at switching your focus temporarily. So Are you focusing on one project and you have been for a long time? And that might be where the boredom creeps in, which then can make the motivation hard. Or do you need to take on some kind of new creative project or challenge or learn something new? Or at the other end, are you to like completely overloaded and you need rest? So it might be worth looking at where your focus is at the moment and is it on the right thing? In terms of practicality, gamifying small tasks is really, really helpful. So um, I'm aware at the moment my dopamine levels are lower than they need to be because of everything going on. So I am adding in kind of more dopamine friendly micro tasks and things like that. So when I say that, I mean, if I have to get something done, I'm doing a little bit more of like racing against the clock or doing it to music or body doubling. Um, a lot of the kind of things that I do that make things a bit more fun. Or I might do it with my son where I'll be like, um, right, we need to tidy up the lounge. Um, who can do this first? Like add a bit of competitive element. So I'm trying to add in a bit more fun to things because everything is feeling quite stressed. And if I add in a bit of fun, that helps both of us. Another thing to think about is maybe you need to have a talk it out. Maybe you need to talk to a coach or a business friend or even voice note yourself. Sometimes I will vox on myself. Verbal processing is a big thing. So very often things are in our heads too much. And by verbally processing things, you're able to work things through things. And quite often you'll say things out loud and not even realize they were in your head. And it will be a light bulb moment. You realize you need to change something. That's actually what working with coach largely what working with a coach is largely having that space to talk things through, have somebody who's going to ask the right questions, um, and give you that space to really talk things through. So that can be really, really helpful, especially if you're feeling very overwhelmed or overstimulated. And then I think finally, try and zoom out and remind yourself why you started to do this. And if you are really struggling to get yourself motivated about something, is it the right thing for you to be doing at the moment? Some things we have to do, some things we feel we should do, and that's not the same thing. So it might be worth reviewing whether that's something that's right for you right now. So motivation is something I talk about a lot inside the Freelance Business Lounge, which is my membership for freelancers. We have twice weekly calls, plus accountability calls and goal setting calls. And everybody just shows up and sort of shares what they're getting on with and what they might be struggling with. And sometimes we're just there to listen. Sometimes people might have some suggestions that help. But it's a really lovely community. So if you feel like you need something like that as a freelancer, maybe you need that kind of fresh new community to remind you why you love freelancing and what you need to do next, then please do come have a look. I will pop the link below, but you can find all my stuff at freelancelifestyle.co.uk. Um, and yeah, just know with motivation, sometimes you can't wait for it. Sometimes you have to find a way to kind of encourage it. So I hope you find that helpful and I hope you have a wonderful freelance week.